And first order of business is roll call. Did you, am I
There
on?
we go. We're good
Okay.
now.
I do it every month, every time. Roll call, start with Lori. Go ahead.
Lori Moore,
Alan Martone.
Larry Chopper, chair.
Dawn Robinson, co-chair.
Larry Burns.
Stu Miller.
And then we have Scott, Levesque, Marty, and Chloe over here, who takes our notes, keeps us honest. I did say,
You did.
you're gonna try to remember who I am twice. All right, I have to read, the rules and stuff. So you bear with us. Good evening. Zoning Board of Review has established procedural rules and guidelines for the administration of applications and the conduct of its meetings and public hearings. The rules of procedure amended in 2021 are posted on the town's website and are available here tonight. Pleasure. The zoning board hears applications for relief from the provisions of the zoning ordinance and renders its decisions based on specific facts found in the documents and testimony submitted. If the applicant's burden to prove that relief from the zoning ordinance is warranted, to do so, an applicant must provide evidence that each criterion of approval listed in section 260-33 for variances and section 260-34 for special use permits have been met. If you are appealing the decision of the zoning officer, administrative officer, or planning board, you are here to convince the board that the officer's or board's decision was in error, either procedurally or legally. This evening, we only have one item to address. If we had more, we just do not take up a new item after 9:00 p.m. Each application shall be heard in a manner that permits the board to obtain and consider the evidence in an orderly and meaningful manner. Testimony begins with the zoning officer's summary of the application and his recommendation. The application and all documentation submitted by the applicant prior to the meeting will be marked as exhibits and made part of the record. Applicants should assume that members of the zoning board have reviewed all the materials submitted with the application. Tonight's presentation by the applicant should be limited to information relevant to the burden of proof and not recite or repeat information already submitted with the application. Any new information received by the board this evening will be entered into the record. However, the board retains the right to continue the public hearing to fully digest any information presented. All questioning of witnesses shall be at the discretion of the chair. All questioning of witnesses shall occur when that witness is called. Of the proponent of the witness shall ask its questions. Interested parties shall then ask the witness for their questions, and the proponent may then ask follow-up questions. Presentation of an affirmative case by any interested party other than the applicant will be allowed as part of the public hearing following the applicant's presentation. Continuation or closing of the public hearing is at the discretion of the zoning board. Marty, are there any, I'm sorry, approval of the minutes. I need a motion to approve the minutes.
So move.
Second.
I guess the minutes from our last meeting. We have approved, we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Carried? Approved. Marty, is there any changes to the agenda?
No changes.
Okay. And then the only item on the agenda tonight is Mr. Peck on behalf of Wilcox Park, 44 Broad Street. Mr. Peck, would you please come up? And Alan, Marty, while he's in the microphone, Marty, could you just give us yours? I don't think so. He's the applicant. Scott, I don't swear him in. He's the applicant, correct?
You can swear him in.
I still need to swear him in. Okay, well, Marty,
The applicant Wilcox Park Superintendent Alan Peck is requesting a special use permit to construct a 16-foot by 26-foot carport in the northwest section of Wilcox Park pursuant to Section 260-34 Special Use Permits and 260 Attachment 10 Town of Westerly Schedule of Dimensional Regulations of the Town of Westerly zoning ordinance. The subject property contains 14.71 acres and is the site of Wilcox Park and Public Library, with frontage on High Street, Grove Street, Granite Street, and Broad Street. The entire property is in the Open Space Recreation Zone, OSR. The surrounding neighborhood consists of Downtown Center 1, DC 1, and Professional Office 15, P15. There are no wetlands on the property and it is not in a flood zone, but there is a small pond in the northern part of the park. The property contains the Wilcox Library and a number of accessory structures. The applicant is proposing to construct a 16-foot by 26-foot metal carport to protect the park equipment. The structure will be 12 feet high at the roof peak. Per 260 Attachment 10 Town of Westerly Schedule of Dimensional Regulations, structures in open space recreation shall be permitted only by special permit, with the locations determined in accordance with topography and other land features to have the least visual impact from streets and adjoining property. As there are no required building setbacks in the open space recreation zone, it is left to the discretion of the zoning board to determine whether or not a location for a proposed structure is suitable for the area. The applicant is proposing to install the carport about 3 feet off the side lot line in order to keep the nearby area open for the movement of plants and materials. The zoning department supports this application. This is a relatively small structure with open sides and is only 12 feet high. The location is near the barn and behind the parking lot for the commercial building at 53 High Street and north of the public parking area at 41 High Street. It will barely be noticed by the general public. The applicant's response to the SUP requirements does a good job of explaining how the proposal meets the special use permit criteria.
Thank you. Sir, would you just into the microphone, state your name, address, and your relationship to the application?
So my name's Alan Peck. I live at 220 Bradford Road in Bradford, Westerly. And I'm the Wilcox Park Superintendent since 2001. Did I answer everything?
That's sufficient.
Okay.
Yes, we have all the information that was given to us, but why don't you just briefly describe why you're here?
Yes, so looking for permission to build this simple structure to house our tractors. We're in a fortunate situation where we've been able to build up our equipment over the past several years to handle the snowstorms, the blizzards, and everything Mother Nature throws at us. And right now, we currently leave the equipment outside. The UV breaks down some of the materials. The snow and the rain just makes it a little bit more uncomfortable to get on a seat when we have to go do a job. So we're looking to just protect things for our comfort and to increase the longevity of our equipment. Also, I don't know if we're going to be sharing the plan, Martin. Yeah, so on the copy, you know, that entire area adjacent to our barn is what we refer to as our holding beds. And so as we divide perennials or take in plants and grow them up a little bit, this is the area we do it. It's for a 14.71 acre facility. We have a very small maintenance area, and this is it. So we tuck all of our maintenance into this area. We just did pretty extensive drainage work last year with some underground dry wells, replace the topsoil with processed gravel, because every time we get this more and more intense storms, we were getting just pure mud. We were unable to use the whole area. So these drainage structures that we installed and really cleaned up the space is looking better than ever. And it's making us want to continue. So the reason we want to tuck it in the corner that's indicated leaves it open for all the comings and goings and all the things we do down in there. You can see it abuts to a neighboring parking lot, 2 neighboring parking lots in a corner of a building with no windows. So I don't think it's going to have any adverse effect on any of our neighbors.
Okay, that's fine. Does anybody on the board have any questions? Yes,
Thank you for that, Alan.
Welcome, Don.
So the last time I was in that area, it was with the Colonial Theater.
Yeah,
The house was gutted.
yeah.
And that area that you're talking about had the perennials that we were using for our show. So thank you for the work you've done for the community on the house. I haven't been in it since then, but it looks lovely. And so I just want to confirm a few things since my last visit back there.
Mm.
So one is that the trash is still in the adjoining parking lot. It's not being affected by this, correct? The
That's
big
right.
dumpster?
That's
Okay.
right.
And that is not changing. It's not being affected. It's just as it was.
Yep. And the
And
parking lot you're referring to is the local development corporation,
yeah, if
that's-
anybody is interested,
Yeah.
it's just one.
adjacent lot.
And then you made a note in your very good documentation of what you're doing, that there's a screen that's going up behind it, that's sitting on top of the stone wall. You're just referring to it as the stone wall?
Yeah, so the stone wall has a fence.
Yep,
Done in such a way that the posts don't hide the beautiful stone wall.
yeah.
And the fence is sort of floating just above it, to block out the view of the cars. You know, good.
And
fence-
vice versa.
And vice
So
versa,
people would not be able to look at the back of the equipment.
correct.
Okay. And the last one is, you actually answered it. I remember that the plants were exposed, so I'm imagining that you do have mud in that area. I don't remember equipment being over there, but now you're putting equipment next to your planting beds that you use to cultivate. So I'd imagine that the reason I'm asking the question is that I'm assuming this will reduce some soil erosion down into the pond and into the area. And it sounds like the dry wells are helping with that
Yeah,
challenge.
the
as
dry
well.
wells did handle that. When you transition from the local development parking lot to park property, we have a trench drain.
Yep,
I installed that years ago. So that takes the water from draining directly into the pond, into our holding bed area, into our dry wells.
Got
So it's
it.
piped into that.
okay,
And the mud and the organics material is actually very contained as well. We have it in the 6 holding beds, the rectangular shaped beds, and the 1 large rectangular bed that'll be next to the carport.
awesome. Okay, perfect. And the last question I feel like I have to ask, since I use it all the time, and you've already done it I'm just doing it on the recording. The ingress and the egress into the park and out of the park, but from the trash containers, because we moved a lot of material out to the trash containers, is still there and it's unaffected
Exactly.
by what you're putting in. So you basically use the small area that you had to cover it to contain your extra equipment and the resources that you're using, so that you are making it nicer and tidier.
Yeah.
And able to retain some of the funds, the precious funds that the library has for the
Correct.
equipment, correct?
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
great.
Mhm.
Thank you.
does anybody else have any questions or comments? All right, then I'm going to poll the board to see how we stand on this. Lori, why don't we start with you?
I support this application.
I support it as well.
I definitely support it.
In favor.
And of course, I agree with my colleagues. So in that case, I'm going to need a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed, carried, and I'm going to turn it over to Lori. I mean to
Dawn.
Dawn.
Mr. Chairman, we have before us a request by Wilcox Park Superintendent Alan Peck, who is requesting a special use permit to construct a 16 by 26 carport in the northwest section of Wilcox Park pursuant to section 260-34 special use permits and 260 attachment 10 Town of Westerly Schedule of Dimensional Regulations of the Town of Westerly zoning ordinance. The subject property contains 14.71 acres and is the site of Wilcox Park and public library with frontage on High Street, Grove Avenue, Granite Street, and Broad Street. The entire property is in the Open Space Recreation Zone, OS/R. The surrounding neighborhood consists of Downtown Center -1, DC -1, and Professional/Office -15, P15. There are no wetlands on the property and it is not a flood zone, but there is a small pond in the northern part of the park. The property contains the Wilcox Library and a number of accessory structures. The zoning board hearing was held on April 8th, 2026. Zoning board members, Chairman Lawrence Chapa, Vice Chair Dawn Robinson, board members Larry Burns, Alan Martone, Lori Moore, and alternate Stuart Miller were present and heard testimony during the entirety of the hearing. Absent, Leonard Sapinare.
I'm going to stop you a moment, Dawn. Scott, even though I asked you, I never swore him in. Can I do it now, just for the record?
You're all set.
I'm okay? Thank you. Continue.
The zoning board was provided with a narrative of start that again. The zoning board was provided with a narrative, extensive narrative, by zoning official Martin Louisel dated April 2nd, 2026, which outlined the details of the application and was summarized by Mr. Louisel at the April 8th public hearing, thereby made part of the record. The following individuals spoke as representatives and experts of the applicant: Alan Peck, Wilcox Park Superintendent. No individual spoke against the application and no individual spoke for the application. During the public hearing, the materials that were presented before the meeting were entered into the record. The following plans and specifications are hereby made part of this approval and may not be altered, amended, or changed in any material way unless approved by the Westerly Zoning Board of Review. The determination of whether any alteration, amendment, or change is in the approved plans is material shall be made by the town zoning official and the zoning board chairman. The zoning board hereby grants to the zoning official administrative authority to approve further non-material modification to its approved plans, which are the site plan, proposed site plan of carport location, aerial photo submitted by the applicant. Mr. Chairman, through the public hearing process, the board heard the applicant's request for a special use permit based on the fact that there are no required setbacks and the zoning board is required to approve the application. Considering the information presented at the public hearing, it is my opinion that the applicant has satisfied the standards of section 260-34 special use permits, whereby the granting of the special use permit will be compatible with the neighboring uses and will not adversely affect the surrounding neighbors' use and enjoyment of the property, because currently the equipment and plants that we use for the enjoyment of the community in the park are uncovered and exposed. The park staff do an excellent job organizing the space and keeping the community safe from the equipment. This will further make the area neat and tidy and also protect the equipment for the improvement of the community. That the granting, item 2, that the granting of the special use permit will not alter the general character of the surrounding area or impair the intent or purpose of this ordinance or the comprehensive plan of the town. In reaching its conclusion, the board has considered and finds that satisfactory provisions and arrangements have been or will be made concerning, but not limited to, the following matters where applicable. A, satisfactory ingress and egress to the lot and to existing or proposed structures therein, traffic flow and control, the access in case of fire, emergency, or catastrophe have been shown because ingress and egress are not altered by the improvement. B, satisfactory off-street parking and loading areas, pedestrian and bicycle circulation and convenience have been shown by off-street parking is not affected by the improvement. C, satisfactory noise, glare, or odor effects of the special use on the adjoining lots have been shown by will be unchanged by the improvement. Satisfactory location and maintenance of trash, storage, and delivery areas is demonstrated by the improvement is not changing the current arrangement. E, satisfactory utilities with reference to locations, availability, and compatibility is demonstrated by, these are unaffected by the current improvement. F, satisfactory screening and buffering with reference to the type, dimensions, and character of the evidence are the shed will be buffered from the public by a fence on top of a beautiful stone wall and will protect the new, oh my gosh, it's called tractors and other materials that the, yeah, equipment, thank you, that the staff uses. G, satisfactory signs, if any, and exterior lighting with reference to glare, traffic safety, and compatibility and harmony with the lots in the zoning district has been shown by, these are unaffected by the improvement. H, satisfactory required yards, landscape, and other open space is proven by, this will actually add to the tidiness of the area and make sure that the extra plantings are covered and protected. I, satisfactory soil erosion, water supply protection, and wetland and wildlife protection has been addressed as shown by, these were actually taken care of by the staff and by Alan in a prior year, and this just adds to the tidiness of the area. J, satisfactory general compatibility with the lots in the same or abutting zoning districts as seen by the abutting neighbors will not be affected and haven't been affected. K, satisfactory protection of property values is evidenced by, this may slightly improve the values of the area since everything will be better organized. Number 3, that all best practices and procedures to minimize the possibility of any adverse effects on the neighboring property, because this is in an area currently used for the same purpose before and after the improvement is installed. The shed will help minimize the impact of water erosion and keep equipment protected for the benefit of the community. As such, Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the special use permit application, which proposes to construct a 16 by 26 carport in the northwest section of Wilcox Park, as shown on the aerial photo submitted with the applicant pursuant to section 260-34 special use permits and 260 attachment 10, the town of Westerly schedule of dimensional regulations of the town of Westerly zoning office with no condition.
We have a second? Okay, Larry. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried? All set.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time and consideration. And I encourage you to come and actually take a look at this maintenance area. We're very proud of it. So thank you again. And the cottage, the park cottage is now an artist in residence and it's incredible. So.
Okay. I see there are no applications for next month, so there will be no meeting for next month. And we'll be kept abreast by Marty whether, about June. Why don't you shoot him an email just so he knows? Yeah. So he doesn't, because you don't want to assume. Are there any other information or comments, Marty? No. Well, in that case, we're going to ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Well, you're anxious. Second,
Second.
all those in favor? Well, we don't even have to do that. Okay. Let's go home.
20.
You still might make it home by 6:30.